Welcome to Chapter 1 of How Could He? I'm Emma Matsdotter, and I wrote this book after leaving an abusive relationship to help other women see clearly, break free, and begin to heal. Introduction. If you have been reading blog posts and watching videos, trying to figure out what went wrong in your relationship, you're not alone. I've been where you are. I've studied narcissism and relationship dynamics for more hours than I spent in medical school. First to fix my relationship, then to survive it, and finally to break free. In the process, I was thrown from confusion to grief to anger and back again. For 21 years, I lived with an abusive man. Every day in that relationship, love and connection diminished, even as I poured in all the empathy and effort I could muster. I tried everything to make it work, but nothing I gave was ever enough. As a medical doctor, I was determined to find answers. At first, I searched for ways to make him change. If only I could say the right thing, fix the right problem, or be good enough. But after years of trying, I was forced to face the truth. To save my life, I had to leave. One November morning, at age 36, I fled with 2 traumatized children and a shattered sense of self. The year that followed, I was stalked and threatened. I had to go into hiding under a protected identity, quit 2 jobs, and move 4 times. But I was able to keep us safe and start to rebuild myself and our life in spite of all the obstacles he tried to put in my way. This book is born from that struggle and from the pain and insights gained during the process. I learned what is really important. I came to understand how my tenderness and goodwill were used to trap me. And I came to feel the force of my own strength as I faced the final boss, my own shadow side. Incorporating it made me able to meet the world in my fullness, to start to live, laugh, and love again. I am determined to use what I've learned to help other women understand what happened to them, because understanding is the beginning of healing. When your world has been torn apart by someone you trusted, the first step forward is seeing clearly. Let me share my insights with you. I'll help you understand why he still lingers in your thoughts, why it was so hard to break free, and why a part of your mind still echoes with his voice. This book is your journey toward loosening his grip on your mind, so you can lift your gaze, breathe freely, and remember who you are. We haven't met, but I know something about you. I know why he chose you. It wasn't because you were weak. It was because you are beautiful. Your spirit is joyful. You try your best in every situation. You bring light wherever you go. At least you did, before the final stages of that relationship. He had never seen anything like you, and it terrified him. He feared you might fly away, so he clipped your wings, slowly, quietly, persistently, until you forgot you could soar. But I promise you this, your feathers will grow back, and this time you'll be stronger. This book will show you how to create the conditions your soul needs to heal. But first, we must walk through the truth. How the relationship worked, how it kept you trapped, and how he planted doubts inside your mind. Take my hand, we're going to find you again. Part 1, The Trap. How you got pulled in. Chapter 1, The Illusion of Love. Once he couldn't get enough of you. The man who would later break you made mental notes of the tiniest things, just to surprise you with the perfect gift. He held your hand, wrapped his arm around your shoulders, as if shielding you from the world. When you made love, his mouth was so close it felt like breathing the same air. When he walked into a room, it was as if everything else lost its shine. You longed to be with him when you were apart. In his arms, everything else faded. And the best part, he seemed to feel the same. He talked about your future together. It was a time of plans, of magic. You had never known that love like this could exist. Some people said you were crazy, or that you should be careful. But you knew what you wanted. You knew who you belonged with. You knew you had fallen in love, deep. Love bombing. And you were right about one thing. You had fallen. You just didn't know yet into what. In a healthy relationship, love begins gently. Two people get to know each other, gradually building trust and connection. It's mutual, tentative, rooted in curiosity and care. It's like two bouncing balls that begin to move in sync. They're still independent, still whole, but they're drawn to each other, creating a rhythm that feels increasingly natural. Their lives expand together without collapsing into each other. They maintain friendships, passions, boundaries. There is mutual respect. No one is trying to erase the other. That's not what happened here. What makes a toxic relationship so persuasive is the intensity of its first phase, the one often called the love bomb. Everything feels too good to be true. And it is. Your new partner showers you with attention. He buys you gifts, takes you traveling, surprises you at work. He's all in, no hesitation, no second thoughts. He wants to be with you constantly. He once ran out of a restaurant mid-meal when he saw a flower vendor on the street. Returning with a rose, he lay gently beside my plate. It felt like a dream. He made you feel seen, cherished, safe, maybe for the first time in your life. And because he seemed so smitten, you let your guard down. You wanted to say yes. But more than that, saying no began to feel unthinkable, like rejecting him. Pleasing him quickly became the most important thing in the world. He made you feel so good. Being with him was like a rush. He became the source of your joy, your grounding, your well-being. He told me he had never felt this way before. One time we passed an elderly couple holding hands. He squeezed my hand and whispered, "That will be us one day." What you didn't see, what almost no one sees at first, is that this intensity comes at a cost. It makes you emotionally dependent. And because that relationship is so all-consuming, it begins pulling you away from the things that once grounded you, friends, passions, even your peace. In a matter of weeks or months, he became the center of your life. And you didn't even notice it happening. The psychological hooks. And you were right about one thing. You had fallen. You just didn't know yet into what. Emotional manipulation. While you were trying to make things better, struggling to make sense of what the underlying issue was, so you could fix it, the rug was being pulled further out from under your feet. The more you tried to find the exit, the deeper into the dark you fumbled. It was like a game of blind man's bluff. Only in this version, you're asking your partner for help, and he uses your trust to lead you in the wrong direction on purpose. The confusion wasn't a coincidence. The breakdown of your relationship wasn't fate. It was designed. Narcissists use emotional manipulation from the beginning. These tools seem benign, even beautiful, but they're calculated to create attachment, dependency, and confusion. Let's look at the 3 most common psychological hooks. Mirroring. He studied your values, your emotions, your stories, and then reflected them back to you in a masculine form. If you cared about animal rights, he'd tell you how he and his friend once rescued a bird with a broken wing. If you cried during a film, he'd pull you close and let out a soft, sniffling breath of his own. The method is simple, powerful, and nearly impossible to spot in a moment. You thought you'd found your soulmate, someone who truly gets you, but what you saw wasn't his soul. It was a reflection of your own. He wasn't showing you who he is. He was showing you who you longed to meet. Future faking. He listened carefully as you shared your dreams. A quiet life in the countryside, big family, a dog like the one you had as a child. He nodded with excitement. "My job lets me work from home," he said. "I've always loved old houses." He'd asked what you'd name the puppy. He said he wanted to take your kids fishing someday. The life you imagined together started to feel real. You began to trust in it, plan for it. But none of it was real. It was a plan. It was a bait. Idealization. There's a debate among psychologists about whether narcissists consciously idealize their partner or if they genuinely believe their own fantasy. But the result is the same. He laser-focused on you, pouring all his attention and charm into making you feel like royalty, like a princess on her birthday. He stared into your eyes. He told you you're different from every woman he's ever met. He made you feel like the center of his universe. You felt adored, worshipped. And because he made you feel that way, your mind concluded that he must be the one. But idealization isn't love. It's inflation. And what's inflated must eventually collapse. That was chapter 1 of How Could He? If this resonated with you, the full ebook is available to download and includes a healing journal prompt after each chapter to help you reflect and grow. You'll find the link in the description. Welcome to chapter 2 of How Could He? I'm Emma Matsdotter, and I wrote this book after leaving an abusive relationship to help other women see clearly, break free, and begin to heal. Each chapter stands on its own, but together they tell the story of waking up and rebuilding. Let's begin. Chapter 2. Your hidden vulnerabilities. Why do smart women fall for narcissists? Because narcissists can be incredibly charming. And if you haven't been taught what red flags to look for, you won't know something's wrong until it already is. The devaluation phase doesn't start with shouting or insults. It starts with confusion, subtle shifts, moment of withdrawal, silence, criticism. And how you respond to that isn't about your intelligence. It's about your experience, especially your early relationships, and how strongly you trust your inner compass. The abuser will have excuses. He's stressed. He didn't mean it. You misunderstood. He needs your patience. He just never felt this way before. And because you love him, you believe him. Or at least, you want to believe him. If you're used to making excuses for people, if you grew up with love that was conditional or confusing, if you're used to being shamed or ignored, then falling into this dynamic is heartbreakingly easy, especially if you're an achiever. Because when something doesn't work, you try harder. You don't give up, you improve. So you apply the same logic here. We just need to get back to how it was in the beginning. You start reading relationship books, cooking romantic dinners, learning how to de-escalate fights. But nothing works. You're focusing so much on him, you have become a secondary character in your own life. I was used to giving my best, pushing myself. I usually succeeded. But making our relationship better became the one thing I couldn't master, and it broke me. The traits that made you vulnerable. These qualities, beautiful, powerful traits, are also what a narcissist exploits. Here's what can make you more easily trapped. Childhood wounds. You experienced love as conditional. You were punished or shamed for mistakes. You learned that love must be earned or can be lost. Empathy. You feel what others feel. When someone's sad, you ache. When they're angry, you feel uneasy. You try to fix things fast. Self-doubt. You second-guess your own feelings. You have learned to trust others' opinions more than your own instincts. People-pleasing. You want to be useful, helpful, kind. You try to make others feel good around you. You rarely ask for your own needs to be met. Perfectionism. You work hard, over-deliver, and push yourself constantly. You hold yourself to high standards and don't make excuses. Which of these patterns resonate with you? Could they have made you vulnerable to emotional manipulation? This isn't your fault, but seeing it clearly is how you start to reclaim your power. That was chapter 2 of How Could He? If this resonated with you, the full ebook is available to download and includes a healing journal prompt after each chapter to help you reflect and grow. You'll find the link in the description. Welcome to chapter 3 of How Could He? I am Emma Matsdotter, and I wrote this book after leaving an abusive relationship to help other women see clearly, break free, and begin to heal. Each chapter stands on its own, but together they tell the story of waking up and rebuilding. Let's begin. Chapter 3: The Subtle Shift to Control. Devaluation. It starts like needle pricks. A harsh word while you're preparing dinner. A look of disgust that vanishes too quickly for you to be sure. A joke at your expense, followed by a chuckle. But these slip-ups are easy to overlook. After all, things are still great, better than great. You are in love. So in love that your friends tease you behind his back. He still texts you every morning when you sleep apart, asking how his favorite girl has slept. But one day, the morning texts stop. You brush it off. He is probably just busy. Work has been stressful, he says. But then other changes creep in. You used to spend every weekend together. Now he's back to hanging out with his buddies. You try to play it cool, feeling childish for being hurt by such small things. Still, you can't shake the feeling that he's drifting. Then, just as quickly, he's back, warm, affectionate, and the anxiety melts in his arms. Until one Friday night, he says he'll call after drinks with a friend. He doesn't. It is 3 a.m. when you try to call him, heart pounding, but the line rings out. No answer. You lie awake, staring at the ceiling, your stomach twisted like a wire. The next day he finally calls. You confront him, your voice tight. He says they went back to his buddy's place, had a few beers, played PlayStation, fell asleep. He forgot to call. And then he adds, "You really need to stop being so jealous. You're starting to sound like my ex." Then he has to go. You end the call with the knot still in your stomach. Relief, doubt, shame, and dread tangled together. You tell yourself this is normal, just an adjustment phase. He's under pressure. When work calms down, things will go back to the way they were. But they never do. The charming version of him still shows up, like a comedian replaying his greatest hits. But the magic feels faded. The jokes are rushed. The affection forced. One day he put his hand on my stomach and laughed. "You're getting a bit pouchy." I was hurt and tears welled in my eyes. He apologized, then added, "I didn't know you were so sensitive." After that, the criticisms came more often. The cycle begins. Of course, in the beginning, you don't know you're in a cycle. All you notice is that the relationship seems to move through good periods and bad ones. There are stretches where everything feels right. He is affectionate, attentive, and fun. And then, without warning, it all changes. He grows distant, critical, cold. If we charted the relationship over time, it may look like this. Blue, good periods, calm, connection, intimacy. Interspersed with orange, tense periods, withdrawal, irritability, passive aggression, and slices of red, abusive periods, verbal outbursts, threats, humiliation. At first, the good stretches are long and the red moments are rare. But as time goes on, the blue fades. Tense periods become longer and the abuse more frequent and more cruel. You adapt. You learn to walk on eggshells. Yet somehow he always finds a new way to knock you off balance. He says more hurtful things, criticizes you over smaller details. Sometimes it feels like he is watching you just to find something to pick apart. This isn't random. This is a cycle. Let's look at it more closely. The abusive cycle. Phase 1, honeymoon, idealization. Phase 2, tension building, withdrawal, criticism. Phase 3, explosion, abuse. Phase 4, reconciliation, brief return of affection, and back again. Tension build-up. It starts with distance. He seems irritated, disconnected. You try to figure out what's wrong. Is it your weight, your mood, the way you speak? You start scanning for flaws. He avoids eye contact. He criticizes how you do things. He says he is stressed, but you sense there is more. I tried to initiate intimacy just to melt the ice between us. I asked him to talk to me. I needed to know what was wrong. I even wondered if he was having an affair, or if it was the pregnancy. My body was changing. He wouldn't touch me. I felt confused and alone. This was supposed to be a happy time, but I wasn't enjoying it. I hoped things would change after the baby was born. The tension periods can last for days or weeks, but they almost always lead to a blow-up. Abuse. Abuse isn't always physical. In fact, emotional abuse is often the first stage, and it is just as damaging. Emotional abuse is a repeated pattern of behavior that makes you feel unworthy, afraid, small, confused, dependent. It is designed to break your spirit. Common forms of emotional abuse. Threats. Shut your mouth or I'll shut it for you. I'm so angry I want to break something. Insults. You are the dumbest peep I've ever met. Are you sure you even went to school? Intimidation. Screaming, throwing objects, punching walls. Silent treatment. Withdrawing affection, refusing to speak to you for hours or days. Blame shifting. Now you're starting a fight again, aren't you? Can't I have a single peaceful night? Humiliation. Ordering you around, mocking your looks, ideas, or abilities. Cruel comparisons. You're starting to look like your brother. Being intimate with you is like being with another man. Yuck. These words leave no bruises, but they scar your sense of self. They make you feel disgusting, unlovable, powerless. And emotional abuse is often a gateway to physical violence. By the time the first slap comes, you may already be trapped in a web of fear, self-blame, and confusion. When he says, "You made me do this," you believe him. Honeymoon. After the explosion comes the apology. He says he lost control, that he is sorry, that he loves you, that you must never make him that angry again. He kisses you, holds your hand, he is tender again. He promises to change. You see glimpses of the man from the beginning, the man who made you feel like the center of the universe. He tells you you're the love of his life, that he couldn't bear to lose you. Just be patient, he says. Things will work out. And for a while, it seems like they might, until the tension creeps back in. Why does the cycle turn? You may think, if I could just keep things peaceful, if I don't trigger him, if I learn his moods, if I manage my emotions better, then maybe you could stay in the good phase. But the truth is far darker. This cycle doesn't happen by accident. It isn't caused by you. It's caused by him. He doesn't want a healthy relationship. He doesn't want partnership or equality. He wants control. To avoid being questioned, to keep you on edge, to stop you from getting comfortable or confident, he creates tension. He finds reasons to criticize, demand, withdraw. He destabilizes you on purpose, so he stays in charge. He wants to dominate you emotionally, to keep you dependent and confused, to stop you from setting boundaries, to punish you for having needs. And when he abuses you, it's not a loss of control, it's a power play. He gets a rush from seeing you squirm, from watching your face when his voice sharpens, from the fear in your eyes. The abuse is the peak of that power high. But if he only abused you, you'd leave, so he plays a different card. The trap. After every abusive moment, he turns tender again. He apologizes. He acts sweet. He offers a crumb of kindness. And because you want to believe in him, because you love him, you cling to the hope that this version is the real one. You try harder. You give more. You live for the brief moments when the sun comes out. But those moments are not real love. They are part of the trap. The nice periods don't mean he cares. They mean he knows how to keep you there. This was chapter 3 of How Could He? If this resonated with you, the full ebook is available to download and includes a healing journal prompt after each chapter to help you reflect and grow. You'll find the link in the description. Welcome to chapter 4 of How Could He? I am Emma Matsdotter, and I wrote this book after leaving an abusive relationship to help other women see clearly, break free, and begin to heal. Each chapter stands on its own, but together they tell the story of waking up and rebuilding. Let's begin. Part 2. The abuse. What really happened to you? Chapter 4. Psychological warfare. The tragedy of the abusive relationship is that it only appears to be a relationship. In reality, it's a slow, hostile takeover. You think you have entered a partnership, one where love, dreams, and emotional intimacy will be shared. You give him your heart, your trust, your innermost thoughts. You believe he'll treasure them. But instead, you have handed your soul to someone who won't hesitate to press the red button on your confidence, your sanity, your sense of self, if it serves his purpose. He doesn't want a partner, he wants control. He doesn't want connection, he wants submission. You're not supposed to share power, you're supposed to serve. And he won't say that out loud. He'll just rewire your reality until you accept his version of the relationship. One where you're to blame, you're never enough, and you're lucky he stays. In time, you become a broken woman, carrying his weight and feeling grateful for the scraps. Not a wife, not a partner, an unpaid emotional assistant. I know how brutal this sounds, but it's the truth. When I didn't know. Before I understood abuse, I couldn't fully admit what was happening. For years, suspicions crept into my mind. Maybe he's using me. But I pushed them away. The idea that someone could purposefully hurt the mother of their children felt too cruel to believe. I told myself he had anger issues, that his childhood had made him insecure, that his outbursts came from pain, not malice. Even when he began to abuse me physically, I believed it was because he was overwhelmed with love and couldn't handle conflict. I thought I could fix it by being more understanding, but as the abuse escalated, I began to see it more clearly. He wasn't comforting me when I was sad. He was piling on insults, and in his eyes, I saw something that terrified me: satisfaction. He enjoyed his control. He liked seeing me shrink. And I was still doing everything I could to keep the peace for the kids. More about my turning point later. For now, let's look at the methods the abuser uses to break you down. The methods of manipulation. The tactics used in abusive relationships are eerily similar to brainwashing methods used on prisoners of war or cult members. The goal is the same: to break your autonomy and reprogram your mind. Gaslighting. Gaslighting is the cornerstone of psychological abuse. Like gas, it's invisible, and you can override your gut instinct that something is wrong. Gaslighting means deliberately making you doubt your own mind. He might say, "Let me handle that. You tend to overthink things. You're not good with money. It's best if I take care of the big stuff. You're lucky I stay with you. A man like me could be with anyone." And yet, he also says, "You're the love of my life. I just want to take care of you." Gaslighting makes you question your judgment, instincts, and memory. It convinces you that he knows best about money, morality, attractiveness, decision-making, even right and wrong. Gaslighting can sound loving. It can sound cruel, but the goal is the same: to undermine your confidence so you rely on him. Positive reinforcement. When you comply with what he wants, you are rewarded. When you let him go on a weekend trip, he cooks breakfast and kisses you. You keep the peace during an argument, he cuddles with you that night. But over time, the reward shrinks. Eventually, you're punished if you say no, because now you're the selfish one for not giving him space. Negative reinforcement. Not doing what he wants leads to consequences. The rules may not be spoken loud, but break one and you'll feel it. Some common infractions include questioning his authority, ask him to explain himself, or tell him he can't do something and expect backlash. Wanting independence. At first, he suggests you skip that family visit just this once. Then he complains about your friends. Eventually, he isolates you while giving himself full freedom. Not serving him enough. You're expected to handle meals, housework, childcare, emotional labor, and do it without thanks. If you fall short, prepare for silence, criticism, or rage. Negative reinforcement keeps you walking on eggshells. Even when you try to cooperate, he moves the goalposts. And because you're constantly punished, you start to think you must be the problem. The silent treatment. The silent treatment is a form of psychological punishment. He won't look at you, won't speak to you. His face goes blank. You feel the tension. You don't know what you did, but you desperately want to fix it. Why does he do this? It centers him. You can't think about anything else. You tiptoe, apologize, try to cheer him up, because the silence is unbearable. It erases your point. If you confronted him or asked for something, his silence makes you feel guilty. Now you are just begging for peace. It also gives him freedom. He doesn't have to tell you where he's going or what he's doing, because he's not talking to you. It trains you. You'll walk the line. You'll comply. Triangulation. Triangulation pits you against someone else to make you work harder for his affection. There's a girl at work your age. She looks 20. My ex texted me again. So annoying how she still wants me. He flirts in front of you or accidentally lets you see a gift or message from another woman. You feel insecure, jealous, and desperate to prove yourself. And if you bring it up, he says you're paranoid or insecure, or gives you the silent treatment. Explosive anger. When he yells, punches walls, makes threats, or calls you names, it's abuse. It doesn't matter if it doesn't hit you yet. His rage teaches your body to flinch, to freeze. You try not to trigger him. Sometimes it escalates into physical violence. Other times, the psychological threat is enough to control you. Blame shifting. He is the aggressor, but somehow it's always your fault. You know how I get. Why would you bring that up? Don't start the drama again. I just wanted a quiet evening. I didn't mean it. You know I love you. And you believe it. Because if you caused it, you can fix it. If you behave better, maybe it won't happen again. The alternative, that he chooses to hurt you, is too painful to face. Minimizing. He shrugs it off. He's just having a bad day. He lost his temper. He didn't mean it. Meanwhile, you aren't allowed to speak your mind without facing rage, silence, or threats. His cruelty is minimized. Your self-defense is pathologized. This isn't partnership. It's a dictatorship in disguise. Why you felt crazy. The longer you stay, the more your sense of reality begins to blur. This is by design. Here's why. Gaslighting. You are told your feelings are wrong. Your thoughts don't make sense. You stop trusting yourself. Emotional exhaustion. The constant stress leaves your nervous system fried. You forget things. You lose focus. Your brain shuts down thoughts that might cause more drama. Cognitive dissonance. You believe he loves you, but then he humiliates you. The contradiction scrambles your mind. You can't make it make sense. Mental fatigue. Living in fear keeps your brain in survival mode. Over time, this causes symptoms like sound sensitivity, irritability, trouble focusing, and overwhelm. CPTSD. Ongoing abuse changes your brain and the nervous system. You may experience panic, shutdowns, flashbacks, or uncontrollable emotions, you begin to wonder if you're the crazy one. You are not. You're traumatized. Trauma bonding, while leaving felt impossible. The concept of trauma bonding was developed by Donald Dutton and Susan Painter in the 1980s. They noticed that when abuse is cyclical, love, then cruelty, a powerful emotional bond is formed. You feel responsible. You empathize with his wounds. You want to help him heal. You believe you just need to be better. The hormone roller coaster. The cycle is not only emotional, it's psychological. The tension phase, cortisol and adrenaline rise. You're hypervigilant, anxious, sleep poorly. Abuse phase. Hormones spike. Your body floods with fear. Reconciliation. Oxytocin, bonding hormone, and dopamine, pleasure, floods your system during affection and intimacy. You feel relief, safety, euphoria. It becomes addictive. You chase the high of making up, the crash, the reward. It mirrors the cycle of drug addiction. Your brain links survival and safety to him. Your body thinks you need him. The trauma bond whispers, he needs you. You need him. You love him. He's not that bad. He's had a hard childhood. You just triggered him. But these are the lies that keep you stuck. You are not crazy. You are not weak. You are not alone. You're in a war you never signed up for. And you're finally starting to see it for what it is. That was chapter 4 of How Could He? If this resonated with you, the full ebook is available to download and includes a healing journal prompt after each chapter to help you reflect and grow. You'll find the link in the description. Welcome to chapter 5 of How Could He? I am Emma Matsdotter, and I wrote this book after leaving an abusive relationship to help other women see clearly, break free, and begin to heal. Each chapter stands on its own, but together they tell the story of waking up and rebuilding. Let's begin. Chapter 5. The Loss of Self. Humans have the ability to grow and evolve throughout their entire lives. Emotionally, mentally, spiritually. But living with an abusive partner is like living in a lion's cage. You're constantly adapting, constantly alert. There is no room to stretch, no room to grow, except in ways he allows, or in ways he doesn't notice. Maybe you have found a small joy, a quiet hobby, something you do just for you, but you keep it a secret. He'd say it's silly or a waste of time. You tell yourself it's to keep the peace, but maybe, unconsciously, you're protecting the last untouched part of yourself, your human need for play, expression, and freedom. Because the process is so gradual, you don't notice how small your world has become, not until something shifts. Maybe you're lying on a blanket at a picnic with a friend, laughing, feeling the sun, and realize you haven't been this relaxed in years. Or maybe he's away on a trip and the house is quiet, peaceful. You notice the absence of tension. The stillness feels strange but good. You can breathe. It's like when you have had pain for so long, you forgot what it's like not to hurt until the pain stops. You forget what life feels like when you are not living with a man who's a constant mental pain in the ass. The slow erosion of confidence and identity. Living closely with someone who holds too much power over you changes who you are. He becomes central to your well-being, so you start to weigh everything he says heavily. And because he gaslights you, subtly, consistently, you begin to doubt your ability to make decisions, to see clearly, to handle life on your own. You start to believe he's smarter than you, more competent, more grounded. You don't have full insight into the finances. Daily life feels chaotic. Arguments can erupt out of nowhere, even if you have been careful, even if you worked hard to keep the peace. You often succeed in avoiding the explosions, but it takes everything you've got. Over time, you begin to feel off balance, confused, foggy. You second guess yourself. And the most important person in your life thinks you're incapable. He constantly points out your mistakes, the things you forgot, the details you missed. He always seems to know more. He appears almost all-knowing, and you, like a clumsy child fumbling through life, you're exhausted. Exhausted from the mental strain, the chores, the emotional labor, exhausted from trying to see around corners, anticipating every possible bump that might set him off, exhausted from never fully trusting him, from the gnawing fear that he might be cheating, lying, hiding something again. And the more tired you get, the more mistakes you make. You forget things, you lose things, you space out. You feel your abilities slipping, and as your energy drains, the demands on you keep increasing. You become a doer, a machine for managing life, and a failing one in his eyes. The friendships that once lit you up have faded. You're isolated now. You're lonely. You're tired. You are immensely sad. In the last years of my relationship, those three feelings, lonely, tired, and sad, were constant companions. I dreamed that one day he would see how hard I was working. I dreamed that one day he would see how hard I was trying, that he'd wake up to how much I loved him, how much I was carrying. I told myself, he doesn't understand. If he did, he'd change. He'd rush to my side, horrified at what I've been going through. He'd finally love me back. But I couldn't tell him. When I tried, he said I was whining. So I kept waiting for him to realize it on his own. And in the meantime, I kept striving. Who are you when you're never appreciated? Who are you when your growth is stunted? Who are you when you can't make a simple plan without checking first? Who are you when your only goal is to keep the peace and survive the day, just to collapse into bed and forget? And the saddest part, you forget that this isn't how life is supposed to feel. You forget that you're allowed to laugh freely, to feel light, to make mistakes without being punished. You forget that love isn't supposed to feel like tension in your stomach and fear behind your eyes. You forget that you once made decisions confidently, that you had opinions and dreams, and that you used to feel like a whole person. When you live in survival mode long enough, you start to mistake it for reality. But this is not life. This is not partnership. This is not love. It's a slow erasure. And you don't realize how much of yourself you have lost until one day you start to remember. For even in numbness, something remains. A quiet voice, a flicker of memory, a glimpse of who you used to be or who you could still become. You may not feel strong yet. You may not know what to do next. But the fact that you're beginning to question this life, the fact that you're still here, still searching for answers, that means something. You are not lost. You are waking up. That was chapter 5 of How Could He? If this resonated with you, the full ebook is available to download and includes a healing journal prompt after each chapter to help you reflect and grow. You'll find the link in the description. Welcome to chapter 5b of How Could He? I am Emma Matsdotter, and I wrote this book after leaving an abusive relationship to help other women see clearly, break free, and begin to heal. Each chapter stands on its own, but together they tell the story of waking up and rebuilding. Let's begin. The physical impact: stress, anxiety, illness. At first, you manage. You can handle the late night arguments and the intense, tearful makeups. You push through the emotional chaos. You get things done. Some weeks you feel drained. You wonder if you have a vitamin deficiency. You sleep a bit more, but you're still performing, keeping the house running, excelling at work. From the outside, you look impressive. Your partner probably compliments you now and then. You are so capable. The food is amazing. That is, when he's not giving you the silent treatment. But over time, especially if children enter the picture, something shifts. You keep hitting a wall that says, here but no further. Your internal battery won't recharge like it used to. Headaches appear. You feel tired most days. You tell yourself you're just run down, but the exhaustion isn't going away. Still, you push. You have to. There's too much to do. Too many people to hold up. Too many plates in the air. You collapse into bed, feeling the ache in your bones, the pure physical relief of being allowed to rest. But your brain won't turn off. It spins. Your heart races. You lie there begging for sleep, whispering, I have to rest. How will I survive tomorrow if I don't sleep? Anxiety becomes the new normal. The anxiety creeps in slowly, then it stays. You hear a ping from your husband's phone on the kitchen table. It's from a woman. You glance. Just a name, just a line of text. When he finds out, he's furious. She's a coworker. What's the matter with you? Is he telling the truth? Your chest tightens. Your thoughts swirl. Doubt floods in. You feel that old tension between what you saw and what you're told to believe. Your system is running on pure stress now. You get things done. You have to. But you can't take anything unexpected. Surprises overwhelm you. Lunch with a friend, no energy. You cancel again. You're not lazy. You're not broken. You're living in survival mode. Fight or flight, always on. Your body has two main modes: parasympathetic nervous system, rest and digest. Active when you're calm, allowing digestion, cell repair, hormone balance. Sympathetic nervous system, fight or flight, activated by stress to protect you from threat. In a healthy life, these systems take turns. Stress comes, then passes. The body rests, recovers. But when you live with constant emotional tension, when you're walking on eggshells, scanning for danger, your sympathetic system never shuts off. You live in a state of chronic alert. Your body doesn't rebuild, it doesn't rest. You may start noticing trouble sleeping, hair loss, weight gain or loss, cravings for sugar or carbs just to keep going, panic attacks, gut issues, muscle pain. This isn't weakness. This is a nervous system in crisis. Chronic stress and long-term illness. Research shows clear links between emotional abuse and chronic health conditions. Constant high cortisol levels, the body's main stress hormone, have been associated with autoimmune diseases, fibromyalgia, irritable bowel syndrome, chronic fatigue, burnout syndrome. Your body is not malfunctioning. It's responding appropriately to an ongoing threat. And the most painful part, the threat is lying next to you, sleeping soundly, wearing the clothes you washed, eating the food you made, spending the time you freed up for him, while your body is breaking down, trying to survive him. That was chapter 5b of How Could He? If this resonated with you, the full ebook is available to download, and it includes a healing journal prompt after each chapter to help you reflect, grow, and reconnect with yourself. You'll find the link in the description below. Welcome to chapter 6 of How Could He? I'm Emma Matsdotter, and I wrote this book after leaving an abusive relationship to help other women see clearly, break free, and begin to heal. Each chapter stands on its own, but together they tell the story of waking up and rebuilding. Let's begin. Chapter 6. Why He Did It. This is the man who once swore to love you forever. The man who accepted your love and devotion, but gave you nothing close in return. He didn't treat you badly because of childhood wounds that made him afraid of vulnerability. Not because you two have different love languages, not because he was stressed and forgot to prioritize you. No, the man you loved abused you for years. He saw how alive you were, how glowing, how energetic. how full of love and goodwill. And he wanted that for himself, not because he loved you, because he wanted to use you. He didn't want to share your light. He wanted to own it, to leash you, to break you, slowly, strategically, until you wouldn't even think about leaving. It wasn't beautiful. It wasn't tragic. It was rotten, manipulative, calculated. You smelled it sometimes, a whiff of betrayal, the glint in his eye when he saw your pain and felt powerful. But then he'd lull you back in with sweet words, or the gaslighting would cloud your mind again. Maybe he didn't mean it. Maybe I misunderstood. Maybe it's me. He acted with intent. And by doing so, he gained what he wanted. Control, freedom, dominance, superiority, all at your expense. Your relationship was never balanced. He never picked up an oar. And when the boat spun in circles, he blamed you. "I'm keeping my eyes on the horizon," he said. But really, he was laying back, enjoying the sun, while you did all the work. Was it intentional? Malice versus instinct. But wait, was it really on purpose? Did he consciously plan to manipulate and harm you? Sometimes, yes. If he has psychopathic traits, antisocial personality disorder, he may very well have calculated it all and enjoyed it. Men like that often feel pleasure from total control. They enjoy watching you twist yourself into knots. They love staring your emotions and watching you crumble. But even if he isn't a full-blown psychopath, even if he only has narcissistic traits, it doesn't make it unintentional. Because he knew from the beginning that he wasn't entering a relationship to connect. He wasn't attaching to you emotionally. He didn't want a partner. He wanted someone to serve him, to make him feel good, to follow his rules, to stay loyal while he did as he pleased. Even if he didn't think it through step by step, his motives were clear. He wanted a woman to reflect his greatness and absorb his frustration, not someone to love, not someone to care for. And how do you convince a woman like that to enter your life? You mirror her. You love bomb. You sell her a dream. You tell her she's your soulmate, that she's safe, that her dreams will come true. Then you withdraw. You punish when she fails to please you, and reward when she obeys. And soon she is stuck, trying harder and harder for less and less. It's done without empathy, without remorse, with a laser focus on what benefits him. If he is a psychopath, he may even enjoy watching you break, crawl, beg. But whether he has a diagnosis or not doesn't matter. What matters is this. He acted intentionally. He lied. He manipulated. He hurt the woman he claimed to love. inside the narcissistic mind, entitlement, control, and emptiness. For some men, it goes deeper. Narcissistic personality disorder is believed to develop in childhood, often in response to emotional neglect or trauma. The child feels unloved, unworthy, ashamed, so they build a fantasy self, flawless, admired, adored. As they grow up, they don't become emotionally mature adults. They become performers. They perfect a role, the charming man, the brilliant one, the admired leader. But it's all a show. Behind the curtain is a frightened, underdeveloped self, desperate to avoid being exposed. Criticism becomes unbearable. Imperfection is a threat, so they deflect blame, deny flaws, and demand worship. If someone has to take the blame or clean the toilet, it won't be him. James Bond doesn't do dishes. Or maybe he does, once in a while, when he needs an extra favor from Miss Moneypenny. And if you remind them of reality by asking for help or accountability, they retaliate. Again, with the nagging, you ruined everything. The show must go on. You just become part of the background, a servant in the wings, replaceable. Why he never changes, and why it wasn't your fault. The man you fell in love with never entered a relationship. He hired you without pay. You were there to meet his needs, to clean up his messes, to be available for comfort and sex and admiration. There was never a partnership. There was never anything to improve. Changing an abuser would require 1. Recognizing that he has a problem with how he relates to others. 2. Wanting to change because he feels genuine pain from his behavior. 3. Committing to long-term professional help, years of therapy and self-work. 4. Avoiding intimate relationships during that process to prevent further harm. Begging you to come back is not the same as wanting to change. It's manipulation. It's a tactic. It's about control, not transformation. Being in a relationship with an abuser and waiting for him to change is like being a cigarette in the hand of a smoker and wondering why he won't stop puffing. If the cigarette runs away and the smoker promises to quit, should it go back? Would you believe him? There is only one way out. A man who chronically abuses a woman is not fit for adult love. And he will not change. Not for you, not for your children, not for anyone. Some abusers grow quieter with age, especially if their partners have settled into full submission. But the emotional abuse, the control, the gaslighting, that doesn't disappear. The abuse simply shifts form. There is only one way to change the situation. You must remove yourself from it. That was chapter 6 of How Could He? If this resonated with you, the full ebook is available to download, and it includes a healing journal prompt after each chapter to help you reflect, grow, and reconnect with yourself. You'll find the link in the description below. Welcome to Chapter 7 of How Could He? I am Emma Matsdotter, and I wrote this book after leaving an abusive relationship to help other women see clearly, break free, and begin to heal. Each chapter stands on its own, but together they tell the story of waking up and rebuilding. Let's begin. Part 3. The Aftermath. Breaking Free and Healing. Chapter 7. Escaping the Emotional Prison. Something wakes you up. Maybe it's a line he crosses when you were sure he never would. Maybe you stumble across a lie, years old, that suddenly makes everything click. Or maybe you hear someone speak your truth, maybe even in a book like this. Sometimes the awakening is slow, like rising from deep sleep. Other times it's a lightning strike. All the puzzle pieces fall into place. And you realize you weren't building a flat image, you were building a 3D illusion. You just hadn't seen it from the right angle before. He was using me. He was using me. Anger, shock, disbelief, grief. These are normal feelings. They can come all at once. And beneath them, there is a devastating pain. The pain of losing the man you thought loved you. But if you're still in the relationship, anger is your ally. Sadness can come later. Because sadness can numb you, it can make you stay. Anger, when channeled wisely, can wake you up and get you out. My breaking point. Anger helped me leave my abusive husband. It was the night he sold the car. My car. The one I'd inherited from my grandfather. The one I used to drive the kids to school every morning before heading to work. He had promised we'd use the money for a new car, but when the money came in, he used it for something else. And when I calmly told him I still needed a car, he gave me the silent treatment. Then he punished me for talking back by withdrawing his promise to help with the kids that Sunday. And the worst part, there was joy in his eyes when he did it. He was getting a kick out of punishing me for struggling. That night I couldn't sleep. I confronted him, then went back to bed, then got up again to apologize for starting a fight. Two worldviews were colliding. Two versions of reality. Two versions of him. Gliding in and out of focus. Eventually, anger won. I left the next day without warning with the kids. We were lucky. 3 months earlier, I had told him I wanted a separation and found myself with a knife pointed at my stomach. Leaving an abuser is dangerous. If you're thinking about leaving, know this. Abusers don't let go easily. This chapter isn't a full guide on how to leave safely, but please don't underestimate the risk. Reach out to a domestic violence hotline in your country. You can also find free resources on my YouTube channel. And remember, even if the abuse has only been emotional, violence can escalate when you try to leave. A 2019 study from the Australian Homicide Project found that half of the men convicted of killing their partners had not been physically violent in the year before the murder. So please, reach out for advice. You can stay anonymous. Don't try to talk it through with your abuser. Make a safety plan. Accepting the truth of who he is. After you leave, 2 images of him will live in your mind. One is the kind, attentive man who whispered that he loved you. The other is the cruel, uncaring abuser. So which one is real? Neither and both. They were both acts, performed for control. The loving man, an act. The raging, out of control man, also an act. Why? Because he never lost control. The rage was strategic, calculated to make you back down, submit, obey. So who is he really? You don't know him. Not truly. If he is a narcissist, he has no core self. Only a fragile mask and a deeply buried sense of fear and shame. His entire persona is a performance. If he's a psychopath, he is calculating and cold, uninterested in you as a person, but highly skilled at saying whatever will get a reaction. If he's not disordered, then the kind, caring man you imagined never showed up in the relationship. Because there was no relationship. There was you, doing all the emotional, practical, and mental labor, and there was him, living a separate life, offering occasional affection to keep you compliant. There was no intimacy, no truth, no mutual care. If he ever listened, it was only to gain information he could use later. Grieving the fantasy. Coming to terms with this takes time. You loved someone who never really existed. You'll likely go through the 5 stages of grief. Denial. He's just going through a hard time. Bargaining. If I just communicate better, maybe he'll change. Anger. He used me. Sadness. I gave everything and he gave nothing. Acceptance. It wasn't real, but I am real, and I'm still here. Denial and bargaining. You have probably been living in those for years. It's time to move forward. The dangers of going back. Why one more chance never works. Leaving is hard. Many women leave and return multiple times. When you go back, you're hoping he has changed. But what is he hoping for? He wants comfort. He wants his personal servant back. He wants control. If he truly wanted an equal relationship, why would he be so desperate to reunite with the woman he spent years degrading and dominating? And real change, that takes years and distance. If he suddenly came to his senses, the first thing he should do is leave you alone to protect you from further harm. But that's not what happens. What happens is the cycle. Sweet apologies, the honeymoon phase. Tension builds again. Then comes the abuse. Round and round. Cutting contact. No contact versus grey rock. I don't understand. After 21 years, I don't even deserve an explanation. It's sad we have to talk through lawyers. He will want to meet, to talk. He'll say he needs to pick something up. He'll blame you, guilt you, shame you. Why? Because he knows you. He spent years training your mind. He knows that one touch, one whisper, can trigger the old chemicals, the feel-good hormones. He knows you still feel love. He needs to activate your empathy, to suck you back into the cycle. But every day you don't see him, your mind clears. The fog lifts. His grip loosens. Freedom tastes sweeter. That's why no contact is essential. What is no contact? No contact means no phone calls, block his number. No messages, texts, email, or through others. No meetings in person. No responding to emotional bait or guilt trips. No social media contact. If he shows up, refuse to engage. Say once, I am determined not to speak with you. If he persists, call the police. Some abusers will stalk, harass, or escalate when losing control. Low contact if you share children. If you have children together, low contact is your version of safety. Use written-only communication, email or court-approved co-parenting app. Respond only to messages about the children. Block him everywhere else. If he tries to speak or guilt you directly, say, please use the parenting app for communication. I will not discuss anything else. No extra conversations. No meetings. No just one drinks. No closure talks. You are not closing a chapter. You are walking out of a prison. And the more distance you get, the more you'll realize you never needed him. He needed your light, but it was always yours. That was chapter 7 of How Could He? If this resonated with you, the full ebook is available to download, and it includes a healing journal prompt after each chapter to help you reflect, grow, and reconnect with yourself. You'll find a link in the description below. Welcome to chapter 8 of How Could He? I'm Emma Matsdotter, and I wrote this book after leaving an abusive relationship to help other women see clearly, break free, and begin to heal. Each chapter stands on its own, but together they tell the story of waking up and rebuilding. Let's begin. Chapter 8. Rebuilding your mind and self-worth. Before you left, life was a prison of busy routine. One day blurred into the next, always packed with too much work and too little rest. That's not a coincidence. Keeping you overworked is a classic tactic used by abusers, cults, and authoritarian systems alike. When your body is exhausted, your mind can't think clearly. And then you leave, and finally, exhaustion hits. The exhaustion after escape. It can feel so unfair. You have just taken the biggest, bravest step of your life. Why now do you feel like collapsing? Because your body is no longer running on survival mode adrenaline. The stress hormones that kept you going for years are finally dropping. And now your system wants one thing: rest. It feels frustrating, yes. Especially when you're trying to organize a new life for yourself and perhaps also for your kids. But this exhaustion is normal, it's a phase, and it will pass once your system has had time to reset. Do only the essentials. Say yes to help. Ask your kids to chip in, maybe even with a star chart. For me, it took 16 months before my energy started coming back. But I'd been in that relationship for 21 years. I left with burnout, CPTSD, and a mind full of gaslighting-induced fog. Step 1. Create a safe space. Before you can heal, you need safety. Start by creating a home where you can rest without fear of being criticized, blamed, or attacked. If you must remain in contact due to children, only check the communication app or email once a day, at a time you choose. Take your time before replying. He is not in control of you anymore. You decide when and how to respond. If possible, give yourself a room with a door that closes, a place to withdraw and recharge. You have earned it. Don't fill the silence. After leaving, you may feel a strange emptiness. No more drama. No more walking on eggshells. No more analyzing his moods, managing his emotions, or bracing for the next explosion. It's quiet, just you now. And that can feel scary. There's a temptation to fill that emptiness with a new relationship, a big project, or helping everyone you've neglected while focused on him. Stop. You are hurt. You need healing. You need to put the oxygen mask on yourself first. And you know what? Everyone else on this plane is responsible for their own mask. Inner critic. Overcoming self-blame. Does that sound harsh? Probably. You're used to stretching yourself to the limit and only then feeling good enough. That's not love. That's abuse. You are not meant to stretch endlessly. You are meant to expand and contract, to give and rest, to inhale and exhale, like lungs, like wings. When wings are stretched to their limit, they can't fly. And when your empathy is overstretched, you become trapped. Let's try something different. That thing you're thinking about right now, the thing you feel that you should do, try this. Ask for help. Pay someone to do it. Let it go if it's not essential. Send a message now. I can't take this on right now. I need to focus on recovery. Unjoin the parent group. Say no. Choose you. Yes, it might trigger guilt or self-blame, but those are old programs in your brain. Track laid down by years of people-pleasing and overfunctioning. Noticing them is the first step to breaking free. Healing trauma bonds, retraining the brain. Your brain was rewired during the abuse. The trauma bond was built through a cycle of pain and reward. And now that you've left, your body is going through withdrawal. You may find yourself longing for him, dreaming about him, craving the highs of making up. That is not love. It's a chemical addiction created by inconsistent reinforcement. Knowing that helps you take a step back when those feelings hit. you can replace those chemicals with healthy sources. Dopamine, sleep, exercise, music, but not love songs, not yet. Meditation, oxytocin, hugs from safe people, massage, a warm bath. But be aware, your system may tempt you with quick fixes that sabotage healing. Alcohol, which increases anxiety. Overeating, which numbs emotions and dysregulates energy. Choose nourishment instead. Regular meals with protein, fat, and fiber. Movement, yoga, walking, or, if you feel strong, running, dancing, lifting. Sleep without guilt. You are not lazy. You are healing. Learning to trust yourself again. One of the worst effects of gaslighting is losing trust in your own mind. You stopped trusting your perceptions. You doubted your intuition. You relied on him to interpret the world for you. Leaving means re-entering a world you've been shielded from. A world where you are responsible for choices again. That can feel overwhelming at first, but it gets easier. Here's how you rebuild that trust. Engage with reality. Go slowly. Make your own observations. Talk to safe people or a therapist. Let them reflect back what's normal and what's not. You might need to hear it 100 times. That's okay. Make decisions, big and small, and notice you are doing just fine. Every time you trust yourself and it works out, you lay a new neural pathway. You are capable. You are healing. And your self-worth was never broken, just buried under years of someone else's shadow. You are not that shadow. You are the light. That was chapter 8 of How Could He? If this resonated with you, the full ebook is available to download, and it includes a healing journal prompt after each chapter to help you reflect, grow, and reconnect with yourself. You'll find the link in the description below. Welcome to chapter 9 of How Could He? I am Emma Matsdotter, and I wrote this book after leaving an abusive relationship to help other women see clearly, break free, and begin to heal. Each chapter stands on its own, but together they tell the story of waking up and rebuilding. Let's begin. Chapter 9. Processing the grief and anger. A relationship with an abuser leaves behind many kinds of loss. Years of your life that could have been filled with peace, creativity, or real love. Lost opportunities, perhaps even childbearing years. Your trust in people, in safety, in your own perceptions. The loss of the man you thought you loved, and the woman you used to be. These are real losses, and loss brings grief. Understanding the grieving process. Grief isn't reserved for death. We grieve broken dreams, lost years, and a version of ourselves that disappeared during the abuse. Grief can feel chaotic, especially when multiple losses hit all at once. The end of the relationship is just the beginning. You may find yourself grieving the life you thought you were building, the illusion of who he was, the time and energy you poured into trying to make it work, the classic stages of grief, denial, bargaining, anger, sadness, and acceptance, don't follow a straight path. You may cycle through them over and over. Some days you'll feel multiple stages at once. That is normal. That is healing. Each wave of emotions carries part of the truth to the surface. And with time, those truths will no longer hurt the same way. They will become part of your story, but not the core of it. Working with a trauma-informed therapist can help you name your emotions, unpack them, and move through them without getting stuck. Releasing suppressed anger and resentment. In abusive relationships, anger becomes dangerous, not because of you, but because your anger threatens his control. So he punished it. He guilted you, shamed you, outraged you. Over time, you swallowed it down. You learned that expressing anger wasn't safe. But anger doesn't disappear. It ferments. It hardens into resentment. And now, as the fog lifts, those old memories start resurfacing with new understanding. You see how cruel he really was, how calculated, how unnecessary his punishments were. And with each realization, anger bubbles up again, sometimes years after the fact. Let it. You are not evil. You are not bitter. You are not crazy. You are angry because what happened to you was wrong. Scream into a pillow. Punch it if you need to. Give yourself a private space where your anger is allowed to exist. This, too, will pass. But first, it needs to rise. Forgiveness versus letting go. What's really needed? Can you forgive someone who took your trust, your body, your peace, and used it to break you? Abusers love to demand forgiveness, not because they want to make amends, but because they want you to forget, to pretend it didn't happen, to keep serving them as if they'd done nothing wrong. But that's not forgiveness. That's submission. Some say forgiveness is for you, that it means releasing resentment and reclaiming your peace. And that can be true, but it must be real. It can't be forced. It can't be rushed. And it must never require forgetting the truth. Here's the truth. You don't have to forgive him. You just have to let go of carrying him. You do this by breaking the trauma bond, releasing his voice from your mind, restoring your emotional and hormonal balance, replacing lies with truth, reclaiming your voice. And one day, without effort, you'll notice you're no longer holding the pain because it's no longer holding you. That was chapter 9 of How Could He? If this resonated with you, the full ebook is available to download, and it includes healing journal prompt after each chapter to help you reflect, grow, and reconnect with yourself. You'll find the link in the description below. Welcome to chapter 10 of How Could He? I am Emma Matsdotter, and I wrote this book after leaving an abusive relationship to help other women see clearly, break free, and begin to heal. Each chapter stands on its own, but together they tell the story of waking up and rebuilding. Let's begin. Part 4: Creating Your Stronger Future. Chapter 10: Reclaiming Your Identity and Intuition. You have not lost your identity. It's been pressed down. But it will rise again, naturally, when you begin to rest, to feel safe, to breathe freely. You may feel self-conscious, expressing the silly, loud, wild parts of yourself. But let me remind you, there is no one here to mock you anymore. You don't have to fit in his frame. You are allowed to be you. Your intuition was never gone. Your connection to your intuition is not severed. It's just been drowned out by anxiety, by fear, by survival conditioning. Your nervous system has been in high alert, forcing you into automatic behaviors that kept him calm and avoided punishment. But as your nervous system settles, your intuition becomes audible again. It won't shout, it won't panic, it won't push. It whispers, it nudges, it knows. True intuition isn't anxiety or impulse. It's the calm, steady voice that remains when the world goes quiet. Who are you without him? Rebuilding from within. There were many losses in that relationship, but there were also gains. You've learned you're stronger than you ever imagined. You have discovered you can endure and persevere. You have survived one of life's hardest storms. And maybe during that time, you built beautiful things. Children, an education, a career, a deeper understanding of yourself. You carry all that forward into a future without him. A future that belongs to you. A life that no one else gets to dictate. A space where no one is allowed to turn you into an appliance or a servant again. A life grown from within. Reconnecting with intuition and gut feelings. As oppression fades, as you begin to heal and emotions settle, you'll discover your connection with intuition and inner knowing. You'll also begin to trust your reasoning again and your moral compass. You'll start hearing your own voice more clearly than the echoes of his. Perhaps you were never allowed to express your full self. Perhaps you were ashamed, subdued, or burdened too early in life. But now you are an adult, and no one gets to put you under their thumb again. You're allowed to expand in all directions, and the frame that once tried to hold you, it becomes laughably small in comparison. You are beautiful, wild, expanding, creative, brave. You're alive. You're enough. You're not meant to be handled. You are everything he feared, because you are a whole woman. Breaking the pattern that made you vulnerable. Some of your traits, those that made you a shining, generous human, were also what made you vulnerable. We talked about them in chapter 2. Trouble setting boundaries, overdeveloped empathy, performance-based self-worth, the inability to feel fully accepted or loved as you are. He promised to be the solution to all of that. He said he'd protect you, value you, love you. In exchange, you just had to lower your guard, obey, let him in fully, and he would complete you. But that never happened. It was a Trojan donkey. Let's not let another one through the gates. The real answer was never out there. The answer you sought are not outside the castle, not in his arms, not in anyone else. The answers are here, within your own heart. They live in self-acceptance, in reclaiming your full range of being. Not in a narcissistic way. I make the rules and others must follow, but in a grounded way. I love being me. I love myself when I make mistakes. I keep growing. I own my emotions. I take responsibility, not blame. I'm not perfect, but I am whole and I am enough. You are enough. You always were. That was chapter 10 of How Could He? If this resonated with you, the full ebook is available to download, and it includes a healing journal prompt after each chapter to help you reflect, grow, and reconnect with yourself. You'll find the link in the description below. Welcome to chapter 11 of How Could He? I am Emma Matsdotter, and I wrote this book after leaving an abusive relationship to help other women see clearly, break free, and begin to heal. Each chapter stands on its own, but together they tell the story of waking up and rebuilding. Let's begin. Chapter 11. Setting boundaries and recognizing red flags. In order to spot a person who will not respect your boundaries, who may try to break down your confidence and take control, you need to have boundaries, confidence, and independence. When you know who you are, you can feel it instantly when someone tries to intrude on your sovereign personhood. But here's the truth. If you're not fully healed, or not fully prepared for a relationship, you may lean too heavily on your partner, looking to him to fulfill the very needs you are still learning to meet within yourself. This can slow your healing, or worse, send you backward if the person turns out to be toxic. Let yourself heal before you step into romance again. And here's something not often said. Be careful with family and friends too. Anyone you let close must be emotionally safe. Right now, you're rebuilding. You need space around your inner self, your thoughts, your dreams, your values. That space must be respected. No one should criticize, mock, or try to fix what you're just beginning to reclaim. Later in your healing, you'll be stronger and more prepared to handle difficult dynamics. But right now, your inner circle should be small, simple, and safe. How to spot toxic people early. The red flag before the red flag. Sometimes the first sign isn't behavior, it's your own tension. You feel drained after seeing them. You adjust your behavior around them. You find yourself second-guessing things you felt sure about. This is your nervous system noticing what your mind hasn't yet named. Don't override that knowing with logic. They're just trying to help. She didn't say anything mean. Maybe I'm just being sensitive. No, you're not. That feeling is valid, especially in this fragile phase of healing. Early red flags. These are behaviors that often indicate control, lack of empathy, or emotional immaturity. Uninvited criticism. Subtle jabs about your choices, your new kitchen table, your hair color, giving advice that wasn't asked for. Blaming others, exes, bosses, life itself. It's always someone else's fault. Rudeness to people they don't need to impress. Service workers, long-term friends, or anyone they feel superior to. Over-talking or interrupting you. They don't listen fully or respect your right to speak. They talk over you, cut you off, or quickly shift the topic back to themselves. Your voice feels small around them. Lying. Any lie meant to manipulate or distort reality should not be overlooked. Green flags. These are signs that someone is emotionally safe. They're curious about you, not your achievements, not what you can give them. You feel safe to be yourself. No anxious rubber band feeling afterwards. They respect your autonomy. They don't assume their way is the way. Remember, if someone shows red flags and love bombs you, the intense interest itself becomes another red flag. Boundaries are self-protection, not walls. Boundaries aren't about pushing people away. They protect your dreams, your values, your time, your truth. Walls are different. Walls are avoidance, defense mechanisms that comes from not trusting your boundaries. Some people use charm or superiority to sneak past others' boundaries, and some use walls to avoid being vulnerable themselves. Boundaries are clear, calm, and kind. Walls are rigid and secretive. Learning to say no without guilt. This part will feel like a shift because you've been trained to prioritize others. When someone asks something of you, your first response might be, "How can I help? How can I make this okay?" And if you can't help, "How can I explain myself enough so they know I care?" But here's the truth. Just because someone brings you a problem doesn't mean it's yours to solve. You are not a resource for anyone who asks. You are responsible for your own well-being and for your children if they're under your care. Everything else is optional. And help is something you offer, not something others can demand. Try this instead. When someone brings you a request, tell me more. What are you thinking of doing about it? If they ask, "You'll be there, right?" "I have to check and get back to you." Then later, if needed, "I'm sorry, I can't." You're not required to give a reason. Explanations become opportunities for manipulation. If they push, "I really wish I could, but I can't." Repeat if needed. And remember, saying no doesn't make you selfish. It makes you sane. That was chapter 11 of How Could He? If this resonated with you, the full ebook is available to download, and it includes a healing journal prompt after each chapter to help you reflect, grow, and reconnect with yourself. You'll find the link in the description below. Welcome to the last chapter, chapter 12 of How Could He? I am Emma Matsdotter, and I wrote this book after leaving an abusive relationship to help other women see clearly, break free, and begin to heal. Each chapter stands on its own, but together they tell the story of waking up and rebuilding. Let's begin. Chapter 12. Finding healthy love, if you want it. After an abusive relationship, after years of longing for love from a man who was never capable of giving it, you are starved for affection and emotional connection. And almost anything can feel like an upgrade compared to the cold, passive man you once tried so hard to please. But entering a new relationship too early can be a mistake. It can expose you to further harm, slow your healing, and lead you into another toxic dynamic. So let's talk about the path toward healthy, safe love after abuse. Are you ready to date again? The first healthy and safe love you need to find is the love you give yourself. The abuser implanted limiting beliefs, shame, guilt, and self-doubt to keep you small and dependent. These false beliefs cloud your ability to see yourself clearly. But the truth is, you are a beautiful human being, filled with love and capable of creating beauty in relationships, in your work, and in your life. Healing means recognizing the lies he planted, pulling them out by the root, and replacing them with truth. As you reconnect with your inner self, you begin to feel the love that was always there, first flowing inward, then outward. Let's speak some of those truths together. And let their echo stir something deep within you. I am a being of love. I am worthy of being loved. I am a person who does the best she can. I am someone who wishes well on others. I am a person who loves deeply. I am valuable in myself without performance. I like to laugh and have fun. I am worthy of joy and laughter. I am just as important as every human being on earth. Take time to truly get to know yourself, not the version of you who was starving for approval, but the whole version of you. Safe, nourished, grounded, and healing. When your foundation feels strong, then, if you want, you can open your heart to someone else. There are healthy men out there, but first, you need to be ready to recognize them. Recognizing secure, kind partners. What does a safe, emotionally mature man look like? He's an adult who can stand on his own. He's not jumping from one relationship to the next. He has a life, work, hobbies, friendships. He doesn't need to be rescued. He doesn't struggle with addiction. He respects your pace. He wants to get to know you over time. He doesn't drive you emotionally, push your boundaries, or put you down. He is honest. He listens. He is calm. He is consistent. You feel safe being yourself around him. He can take disagreement and criticism without attacking or withdrawing. He is not looking for someone to fill a hole. He's whole already, and he wants a partner who is whole too. Why healing first is key. Without healing, you'll struggle to set boundaries. You may mistake intensity for intimacy. You may love from a place of fear rather than freedom. You may tolerate mistreatment again because your nervous system still expects chaos. A healthy relationship is not a rescue mission. It's a space of mutual growth, freedom, and safety. A healthy man won't want to control you. He'll see your healing as sacred, and he'll support it. But first, you must honor that process yourself. Conclusion. You entered the darkest part of human connection, where someone you loved used your open heart to wound you. But you rose. You find the strength to face the truth and break free. Now you carry something powerful, knowledge. You understand the dynamics that kept you trapped, and you can finally see what happened and why. From this experience, you're not only carrying pain, but wisdom. You know the wounds that need healing, and you know that you are ready to rise into a new way of living. Life is a kaleidoscope of colors, people, and experiences. Some dark, some light. You now know what you never want to support or be a part of again. You also understand this. A toxic cycle does not improve. It shifts, it moves, but it never changes. The illusion of progress is what kept you trapped. But you are no longer trapped. You are already different. You have broken free from a cycle that was never your doing. And now you are replanting yourself in safe, nourishing soil. The wounds that kept you from the sun are healing. The griefs are being felt, held, and released, one by one. The life that is becoming is you, in your full expression. Never forget who you are. Never again be overtaken by someone cloaked in charm, blame, and lies. Never again believe that cruelty is love. That illusion has shattered. And your gaze is turned forward now. Can you see it? The light. It's you. You have made it to the end of the book. But this isn't the end of your healing journey. It's just the beginning. Whether you're still untangling what happened, finding your footing after leaving, or beginning to rebuild who you are not alone. Thank you for listening.